Welcome to Tirumala Vaibhavam YouTube channel. Today we will dive into another spiritual story. Do subscribe and like the video for more such deep spiritual content.
Let's transport ourselves to the sacred battlefield of Kurukshetra. You can almost feel the tension in the air. A huge, devastating war is about to begin. But right in the middle of it all, in the space between two massive armies, there's a chariot. And on that chariot, the warrior Arjuna is just overcome with despair. But his charioteer, Lord Krishna, is about to share some profound wisdom. This conversation, as we know, becomes the Bhagavad Gita. And today, we're diving into its 10th chapter, an absolutely breathtaking guide on how to see the infinite right here in our finite world.
So this is Arjuna's question. And you know, it's not just the question of some warrior from long ago, it's the cry of every single one of us on a spiritual path. How do I actually connect with the divine? Not as some far-off idea, but right here, right now, in the things I can see and touch. How can I change the way I look at the world so that everything becomes a form of medication? Krishna's answer to this very question is what this chapter, the Yoga of Divine Manifestation, is all about.
Now, before Krishna starts listing all his glories, he does something really important. He lays down a foundational truth that honestly changes everything. He doesn't start with the big, flashy stuff like the sun or the mountains. Nope. He starts at the very beginning, with the source, the principle of existence itself. This is the master key to understanding everything that comes next. He's giving us the lens to see the divine, well, everywhere. And notice how direct this is. The divine isn't some distant king sitting on a throne in the sky. Krishna says, I am the self, the pure consciousness that is the deepest reality inside every single living being. That spark of life that animates you, the very awareness that's hearing these words right now, that's not separate from the divine. It is the divine, and that's our starting point.
So from that deep inner truth, Krishna then zooms out to the whole cosmos. I am the beginning. You know, every galaxy, every star, every little atom, every single thought that has ever been thought, it all comes from this one single divine source. There's no separation between the creator and the creator. It's all just a continuous outpouring of this divine energy.
And this shows us that the divine isn't some force that just created everything and then, walked away. Krishna is also the middle, the sustainer. The laws of physics that keep the planet spinning, the biological processes that keep us alive, the very fabric of reality that holds itself together moment by moment. That is the active, present power of the divine, constantly keeping everything going.
And finally, the end. Every form, every world, all of us. After we've lived our lives, we ultimately dissolve back into that same divine source we came from. It's this incredible cosmic cycle: creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So the really crucial point here is, the divine isn't just one part of that cycle, it is the entire cycle, the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Okay, so with that huge principle established, that the divine is the beginning, middle, and end of everything, Krishna now starts giving Arjuna some real, tangible examples to meditate on. He begins by pointing to the most excellent, the most powerful, the most awe-inspiring things in the world, showing us that at the peak of any category, we can see a direct reflection of divine glory.
Just think for a moment about the sheer power of the sun. It's the source of pretty much all energy, all warmth, and all light for us. Krishna says, when you feel that incredible radiance, you're getting a glimpse of me. And then in the quiet beauty of the night sky, that calm, reflective light of the moon, yep, that too is a manifestation of my divine presence. He's the light in its most powerful form and in its most gentle form.
Now, try to feel that sense of immense stability and majesty you get when you look at a great mountain range. The Himalaya, for instance, represents this unshakable strength, this ancient stillness that's just beyond human time. When you feel that sense of awe standing before a mountain, you're actually connecting with that eternal, unchanging aspect of the divine.
And we find this same glory in the animal kingdom too. The lion, it's the very symbol of courage, nobility, and raw power. And then there's Garuda, that mighty eagle from mythology who represents soaring freedom, incredible vision, and strength. So in the highest expressions of courage and freedom in nature, Krishna is revealing his own divine qualities.
He's also there in the essential elements that keep us alive. The wind, which cleans the air and represents the power of breath and movement. And the river Ganges, which is sacred for its life-giving and purifying waters.
The divine is literally the current of life itself, that force that cleanses, moves, and sustains everything.
So, after pointing out his presence in all these grand, magnificent things, the teaching takes this really fascinating turn. Krishna pivots from the big, visible things to the subtle, showing that the divine isn't just in the big stuff, but is also the essential quality inside of concepts, of knowledge, of consciousness itself. And this is where the practice of seeing the divine becomes truly all-encompassing.
Just think about this shift in perspective for a second. We've gone from a mountain to a single letter of the alphabet. So why the letter A? Well, in Sanskrit and a lot of spiritual traditions, A is considered the first, the primordial sound. It's the vibration from which all other sounds, all words, all mantras, and really all communication is born. Krishna is essentially saying, my essence is in the very source code of your ability to think and speak. How cool is that?
And it doesn't stop there. The divine is also the pinnacle of knowledge itself. Among all the different fields of study, the absolute highest is the science of the self, that ultimate investigation into what consciousness and reality really are. And even in a logical debate, that clear, sharp power of reason that can tell truth from fiction, yeah, that too is a manifestation of divine intelligence.
Oh, this is just beautiful. Divinity isn't just in sound and words, but also in its opposite. Of all secret things, the deepest is silence. And we're not talking about an empty silence, but that profound stillness that's just full of potential. And for those who are truly wise, the divine isn't something they know about, he is the wisdom itself, the very light of consciousness that makes their minds shine.
So at this point, Krishna has given Arjuna this huge list. It spans the entire cosmos, nature, animals, even abstract ideas. Arjuna's mind must be just buzzing with all of these divine glories. And right at this moment, just when we think we're starting to get the scale of it all, Krishna delivers a final revelation that completely shatters our human ideas of size and understanding.
Let's just pause on that for a second. Seriously, after hearing this incredible list, the sun, the mountains, the lion, the essence of language, the peak of wisdom, how could a finite human mind possibly hold all of that at once? How can you meditate on everything at the same time? It just seems impossible, right? Arjuna's feeling this, and Krishna knows it, and he's about to give the ultimate answer. And this right here is the key. Instead of trying to grasp every single individual thing, Krishna gives us a unifying principle, the seed. Think about a giant banyan tree, with all its massive branches and roots. All of that complexity was once contained in potential inside one tiny little seed. Krishna is that seed. He is the unmanifest potential from which every single being, moving or not moving, comes into existence. Nothing can exist without that essential divine spark. And here it is, the climax of the entire chapter. After this magnificent, detailed list, Krishna basically says, but what's the point of all these details, Arjuna? And then he delivers one of the most mind-blowing lines in all of Scripture. Just let this sink in. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Everything we've talked about, every galaxy, every sun, every mountain, all of creation, is held up by just a tiny fraction, a mere spark of that infinite divine reality.
Wow, that final verse just reframes everything, doesn't it? Chapter 10 has given us this profound spiritual map. It has trained our minds to stop seeing a world of separate, ordinary objects and to start seeing a world that is just overflowing with divine meaning. It takes devotion from being something you do now and then to a state of constant, moment-to-moment awareness. We've now heard about this glory. The journey ahead moves towards seeing it.
So what's the path this chapter really lays out for us? Well, it's that the divine is the absolute source, sustainer, and end of everything. That we can see this divinity by looking for the peak of excellence in anything, whether it's the sun or a lion. That it's also the subtle essence of things like language and wisdom. And maybe the most humbling lesson of all, this entire unbelievably vast cosmos is supported by just a tiny fragment of that infinite being. To really get that is to see the whole world as a sacred tapestry woven from pure divine glory.
So Arjuna has now heard this incredible description. His mind is expanded, his heart is just overflowing with devotion. But hearing about something, no matter how amazing, is still one step removed from actually experiencing it for yourself. And so the ultimate question just hangs there in the air, setting the stage perfectly for what's about to happen. To hear of such cosmic glory is one thing, but what would it be like to actually see it all at once? What would that universal form even look like? And that is where our journey will continue.
That was today's story. Please do like, share and subscribe for more such interesting stories. Let's connect with another story. Till then, stay blessed.